Major changes have been set in place for credit reports and credit scores for 2026 that you do not want to miss, that we already talked about. So if you already watched my last video, you already know this isn't about politics. It's not pro-Trump, it's not anti-Trump, it's about how credit actually works. Who benefits and who quietly gets boxed out when the rules change. In the first video, I broke down 3 major credit changes expected around February 2026. Number 1, a proposed credit card interest rate cap. Number 2, the Credit Access and Inclusion Act. And number 3, a quiet but massive underwriting shift most people aren't prepared for. Today is not a recap. Today is what they didn't tell you about all 3, how they interact, and where the traps are. And why a lot of people cheering right now may end up worse off later. And while you're watching, I want you to answer this in the comments. Which of the 3 changes do you think helps banks the most? And why? So let's go ahead and go step by step. Now this is the quick reminder of what change number 3 was. We're starting backwards again. Change number 3 was the proposed 1-year 10% cap on credit card interest rates.
Trying to get interest rates down. And he said he wanted to work on that. And I said, great, let's get something done.
On paper, credit cards at 25 to 30% APR, suddenly capped at 10%. Sounds like relief, right? That's the part you already know. Now here's what they didn't tell you. Banks don't make emotional decisions, they make risk decisions. If you force lenders to lend at 10%, they don't lose money, they change who qualifies. This is the part most headlines skip. When rates are capped, approval standards tighten, minimum score requirements rise. What used to be a 700 credit score and was great, now gets pushed to an 800. Limits get smaller, marginal borrowers disappear. So the real trade-off isn't lower interest rates versus higher interest rates, it's lower interest or access to credit. And history has already told us how this plays out. Who still gets approved? High credit scores, thick files, and stable income. Who quietly loses? Rebuilders, thin files, and anyone using credit as a bridge. But here's the crazy part that nobody's talking about out loud or just talking about period. Because a 10% cap on credit card interest rates is amazing and exactly what Americans need for a little bit of relief. Because Americans have been drowning with inflation and unaffordable incomes in America. Yes, I know some people aren't struggling, but the majority of Americans are. Let's just go ahead and say the truth here. But my point is, this bill has already been introduced. Yes, the bill already exists, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to Google, literally, 10% cap on credit card interest bill. And you're gonna find out that it was created in February of 2025 by Josh Hawley, a Republican out of Missouri, and Bernie Sanders, an independent from Vermont. And it is just sitting. So what is the theatrics of calling Elizabeth Warren and say, hey, I wanna work on this credit card interest rate thing? Just pass the bill. It's sitting there waiting for you. All you gotta do is push it across the table and get the Senate to work on it and get it through the House. That's all we have to do, ladies and gentlemen. That's literally what we're waiting on. So no, it hasn't taken effect. It's just being moved along a lot slower. Yes, they are talking about it, but it's not actually moving. It's just sitting there. The framework has already been done. So let me know what you think in the comments now that you actually know that. So let me ask you this, and I want you to answer honestly. Would you rather have a 10% card you can't qualify for or a 25% card you can actually get? Because the system will force you to choose. And this matters later when we talk about change number 1. Now moving on to change number 2, which was the Credit Access and Inclusion Act. This allows things like rent, utilities, phone, internet to be counted towards your credit profile, which I believe should have already happened decades ago, but you get to opt in. It's not forced, and on-time payments help. Late payments don't actually hurt. Listen to what I just said, because a lot of people didn't hear that the first time. Late payments don't actually hurt. This one sounds like a straight win. Now here's what they don't tell you. Yes, this helps credit invisible people. Yes, it helps with thin files, but once alternative data becomes normal, not having it stops being neutral. And it starts looking like, why don't we have data on this person? Why isn't there a long payment trail? What's missing? That's how underwriting works. And here's the uncomfortable part. Once lenders rely on alternative data, they expect consistency. Miss a utility payment, miss rent once, switch providers often, those patterns don't hurt your score the same way, they absolutely affect risk models. So comment this, do you want rent and utilities on your credit report, or do you want the option to stay invisible? Because there's no wrong answer, but pretending there's no trade-off is how people get blindsided. Now let's talk about the one that actually ties everything together. Because change number 1 was the quiet removal of explicit federal guidance that limited how lenders consider citizenship and immigration status in underwriting. Discrimination is still illegal though, but clarity was removed. That matters more than people realize, because here's what they don't tell you. When guidance disappears, risk logic fills the gap. Banks don't ask, is this fair? They ask, is this collectible? And that opens a door to stricter documentation, permanent status requirements, and reduced flexibility. And this doesn't just affect undocumented immigrants, it affects visa holders, green card holders, mixed status household, anyone without long-term certainty. And once lenders reevaluate risk, it doesn't stop at new applications. Think like this: credit limit reductions, account reviews, fewer refinances, more denials layered quietly into underwriting. Now connect this to change number 3 and change number 2, lower interest caps plus alternative data plus stricter risk filters equals a smaller, cleaner, more predictable borrower pool, which is great for banks. So I want you to answer this honestly. Is this just risk management, or do banks already have too much power? Listen, I know that comment section is about to get real spicy with this one. I want to give a special shout out to all my beasters out there that are working hard to fix their credit using DisputeBeast, the most advanced AI credit repair software ever created that comes with a 110% money back guarantee. But specifically to Luis. Luis's credit score went up 261 points after just one round with DisputeBeast. And Jency's credit score went up 225 points after just one round with DisputeBeast. But let's not forget James. James's credit score went up 207 points after just one round with DisputeBeast. DisputeBeast's link is going to be in the video description and pinned at the top of the comments for anyone that needs to fix their credit. Now, of course, let's talk about what you should be doing right now. Of course, this is the part that nobody gives you. Last part's the most important. Under these changes, winners will be people who keep utilization under 10%, control account velocity, and fix reporting issues before applying. Understand how underwriting actually thinks. And this isn't about fear, it's about adaptation. I want you to understand these changes don't hit everyone the same because they reward stability, documentation, predictability, and they punish uncertainty, thin files, and anything lenders can't model easily. If you understand the rules before they shift, you win. If you don't, the system decides for you. Make sure to comment which change actually worries you the most. And smash that like button if this made you rethink credit. And if you want part 4, who gets hurt the worst? Say the word. And if you have any collections, charge-offs, or negative items that you need to delete from your credit reports, make sure to watch this video right here because it's going to show you how AI will do all the work for you, mail your letters, and it comes with the 110% money back guarantee and a free credit analysis to show you what's hurting your credit and let you fix it instantly. And if you felt that I brought you some value in this video, make sure that you don't forget and subscribe to increase your credit score.